Power is not only in appearing, sometimes it is in refusing to appear. People look at the one who stays home and make fast judgments. They say, he is shy, he is scared, he is not social. In many houses and streets, anyone who does not roam is labeled weak. But in politics, in court life, in real human games, the most dangerous person is not always the loudest one in the market. Often it is the one who is watching, gathering, saving his energy, choosing his moment. Machiavelli would tell you, a ruler does not show himself in every corridor of the palace. He appears only when it strengthens his position. So understand this first. Staying at home does not always mean failure. Sometimes it means selection. You are refusing to compete on bad ground. You are refusing to give people more access than they deserve. You are refusing to play a game whose odds are set by others. That is not cowardice. That is conservation of leverage. The modern world keeps telling you to be visible, post more, attend more, be everywhere. But every arena you step into has a cost. When you go out, you pay with time, you pay with money, you pay with attention. You pay the emotional tax of listening to people who do not build you up. You pay with exposure. People now know how you react, what you wear, what you can afford, who you came with. The more they know, the easier you are to corner later. This is why constant social presence weakens many people. They think they are networking, but they are actually becoming predictable. They are offering a daily map of their behavior to anyone who might want to use it. A clever person, a Machiavellian person, will sometimes stay back. He will say, I don't need to be seen today. I need to be strong tomorrow. He understands that the arena is expensive, and he does not owe his blood to it every night. There is another layer. When you stay in your own space, you control the scene. At home, in your room, in your chosen circle, you decide who enters, how long they stay, what subjects are opened, and what energy is allowed. Outside, you are reacting. Inside, you are directing. And whoever directs the setting, directs the outcome. That is why courts were built with gates. That is why kings used audience hours. Access is power. People who prefer staying at home often feel this without putting it into words. They know that when they go out too much, their thoughts scatter, their standards drop. They get pulled into gossip, into comparison, into empty trips that do not move their life. So they protect the center. They keep their rhythm. They work quietly. They let curiosity about them grow rather than kill it with overexposure. And yes, some people will still mock it. They will say, you're boring. You don't go out. You don't party. Let them talk. Let them burn their energy proving they have a life while you build a life. The fox does not explain to the chickens why it moves at night. Strategy does not report to noise. This does not mean you should hide from life. It means you should be deliberate. Appear when it profits. You retreat when appearance would only feed other people's agendas. Let scarcity increase your value. Remember, the one who controls access controls desire. The one who is not available everywhere is the one people speak about. Guard your presence like treasure and move only with purpose. Visibility is praised, but overexposure is punished. You are told from every direction to be seen, post more, attend more, talk more. You hear that confident people are always out, always loud, always surrounded. But power is not built like that. Machiavelli would tell you that a prince loses authority when he becomes too familiar. What is always within reach is rarely valued. What is seldom seen is constantly discussed. So there is a lie moving through modern life, that constant presence is success. In reality, constant presence is surrender. Think about how social culture works now. If you do not show up to every gathering, people ask, are you okay? Are you depressed? No one asks the more strategic question, what are you working on that makes your time so protected? The world has normalized busyness to the point that rest, focus, or deliberate isolation are seen as sickness. This is how illusions of health are created. You look healthy because you are visible, not because you are actually stable. Machiavelli would call that a dangerous confusion between visibility and authority. The crowd loves performers, but rulers protect their time. This is the visibility trap. The more you show up, the more people think they own a piece of you. Familiarity grows, and with it, casual disrespect. When someone can predict that you will be at every party, every meetup, every online space, they stop being curious. They stop being careful with you. Over-familiarity breeds contempt. People start to joke deeper, test boundaries harder, and demand your presence without offering value in return. You did not lose respect because you were weak. You lost respect because access to you became routine, and routine never looks like power. Mystery is not childish. Mystery is leverage. A person who appears selective is harder to insult and harder to replace. When you are not always around, people must imagine you. Imagination raises value. Your absence makes people question what you are building, who you are meeting, and what you are planning. That small uncertainty is useful. A Machiavellian mind protects that uncertainty. A naive mind kills it for the sake of being social. But there is another reason some people stay home. They do not like being scanned. Modern social life is not just hanging out, it is data collection. Every time you go out, people quietly study you. They notice what you wore, whether you repeated the same outfit, what you ordered, whether you paid, who you came with, whether you looked stressed, and whether you avoided someone. And the next time, they watch again. After 5 or 6 meetings, they have a complete profile of you. They know what compliments soften you, what questions expose you, and what minor signs reveal your financial and emotional limits. Information is ammunition. Machiavelli wrote for men living in courts, surrounded by eyes and whispers. Today, your court is your friend group, your office, your extended family, your city. The more you circulate without strategy, the more material you give people to use later, in gossip, in comparison, in subtle attacks. So when someone prefers to stay home, it might not be fear. It might be an instinct saying, I do not want to be that readable. Reducing appearances reduces intelligence leaks. Now look at how belonging is sold. Many circles will embrace you warmly as long as you agree. Dress like them, think like them, laugh at the same targets. Show up when summoned. If you skip 2 events to focus on your work, you suddenly become distant. If you refuse to tell them everything about your personal life, you suddenly become secretive. That is not friendship, that is soft control. They are not loving you, they are managing your availability. And remember, the people who shout "come out more" are often the ones who fear being left behind by your discipline. So they keep you in circulation. A Machiavellian mind sees that cheap belonging always asks for obedience. Absolute respect allows distance. Real respect will enable you to say, I am busy building, and people accept it. But low-quality groups want you to keep feeding them presence, stories, and vulnerability because it entertains them and keeps you dependent on their approval. If you are someone who prefers staying at home, you may have felt this pressure early. Maybe you sensed, if I keep going here, they will take my time. So you withdrew before they could tighten the rope around your schedule and make you a permanent entertainer for them. The illusion we are breaking here is simple. More. Social does not always mean more powerful. Sometimes it means more exposure. Sometimes it means more obligation. Sometimes it means more draining. Power needs room. Power needs privacy. Power needs to choose who sits at the table. You cannot do that if you are always chasing invitations instead of issuing them. So begin to measure your outings by purpose. Guard what the crowd cannot see. Ask, will this room increase my value? Will these people protect my name when I am not present? Will this event give me information I cannot get online? If the answer is no, then staying home is not laziness, it is allocation. You are keeping your energy for a better move. Withdraw from illusions, appear with intention, and let your rarity speak. Not every person who stays home is guarding power. Some are nursing a wound. It looks the same from the outside: quiet weekends, long hours in the room, saying no to invitations, but the motive is not the same. Sometimes it is sovereignty, sometimes it is self-protection. And Machiavelli would warn you, when you retreat because you were pushed, not because you planned, you have allowed someone else to choose your place on the board, and that is the beginning of weakness. There is a clear difference between tactical withdrawal and wounded isolation. Tactical withdrawal says, I will step back today so that I can strike later from a position of strength. Wounded isolation says, I will step back because I cannot bear another blow. One is movement, the other is paralysis. If you stay home because you are afraid of being judged, laughed at, compared, or ignored, you have already handed judgment over to other people. Their old laughter is still commanding your current schedule. That is anti-Machiavellian, because power should move from your will outward, not from their memory inward. A prince who lets insults dictate his routes is no longer ruling, he is being herded. Think back carefully. Was there a day when you spoke with confidence and someone cut you down? Maybe in school, you answered, and the class laughed. Maybe at a family gathering, adults mocked your plan for the future. In an early relationship, you opened your heart, and that softness was later used against you. In that exact moment, your mind wrote a survival rule. Silence is safer than exposure. The rule worked for that day, you avoided more pain. But rules written inside pain often become prisons when they are never reviewed. What once protected you can later trap you, because life keeps changing while the rules stay frozen. This is how early power imbalances create adult patterns. When you were small, everybody outranked you. Parents, older siblings, teachers, louder classmates. They could interrupt you, overrule you, or embarrass you in front of others. Every time you spoke and lost status, your nervous system learned a lesson. Disappearing keeps you safe. You did not stop having ideas. You just stopped bringing them into rooms where they could be attacked. Years later, you tell people, I just like staying home. But beneath that sentence, remembered defeat pulls you backward. You are not always choosing solitude. Sometimes an old humiliation is choosing it for you. Machiavelli would disapprove of letting old defeats govern present policy. A capable ruler studies past mistakes, but he also returns to the city to see whether the conditions have changed. If you never go back to the streets, to the meetings, to the circles where people talk and form alliances, you cannot read the current mood. You end up ruling yesterday's problem while today's plot grows outside your walls. Inside you, it looks like this. You keep protecting the 15-year-old who was mocked, while the adult you are now never gets tested, never gains allies, never learns what rooms he can now dominate. That is how a private wound becomes a public weakness. There is also a hidden cost in staying unseen for too long. You do not build alliances. You do not practice charisma. You do not learn how to scan faces, how to enter a conversation without sounding needy, how to establish boundaries in real time. These are political skills. And like any skills, they grow only through contact. When you avoid every setting, you think you are protecting yourself, but you are actually staying untrained. A soldier who only sharpens his sword in private may have a beautiful sword, but he will still be clumsy in battle. Power that never meets, resistance never becomes precision. Machiavelli warns that princes who never leave the palace forget how the people think. They start believing that their private narrative is the real one. Then one day the people turn, and the prince is shocked because he had no informants, no bonds, no living sense of what was happening outside. That is what happens when your shadow runs your isolation. Your room becomes your palace. Your phone becomes your counsel. Your assumptions become your spies. But none of them show you tone of voice, body language, shifting loyalties, or quiet resentment. For that, you must sometimes stand among people. Meanwhile, the world keeps training without you. Other people are negotiating, flirting, presenting, being rejected, and trying again, learning new codes, spotting new dangers. You are getting sharper in thought, but duller in contact. And in human strategy, dull contact is dangerous. You can have excellent ideas, but if you cannot deliver them in a room, you do not have influence. Power is not only what you think, power is what you can make other people do, and for that, you must occasionally appear. So the question becomes, are you staying in because you will choose it, or because an old wound chose it? If you decide it, solitude will make you richer, more skilled, more composed. If a wound chooses it, solitude will make you smaller, more suspicious, more easily ruled by the past. That person who shamed you, that group that excluded you, that partner who mocked you, they should not still be deciding how much sunlight you get today. Let them stay in the past while you start moving again. You do not have to throw yourself into chaos to fix this. You only have to take back authorship. Enter one space on your own terms. Go to one gathering to observe, not to perform. Say one sentence in a group so your nervous system remembers it can survive visibility. Build one alliance with someone whose respect does not demand your constant attendance. Step by step, you teach your shadow that you are no longer the child who was silenced. You are the adult who chooses when to appear and when to withdraw. Let your will, not your wound, decide your presence. Power weakens when it seeks two opposite things at once. You can feel that in yourself. One part of you wants to stay in your room, keep your routine, keep your peace. Another part of you wants people to know you are not average. You want quiet, and you want applause. You want to avoid the arena and still be spoken of inside it. That split is the start of emotional collapse. Machiavelli would call it bad administration of your own state. Your desires are marching in different directions, so none of them can win fully. When home stops being a place of preparation and becomes your permanent hiding place, your identity begins to tear apart. Here is the first piece. Value in human society is primarily social. People judge what they see. You can be disciplined, intelligent, spiritually awake, but if no one has ever experienced that version of you, the world cannot reward it. So you stay home to protect yourself from judgment. But at night, you wonder why no one recognizes your depth. You scroll and see people you consider less deep than you getting attention, comments, money, and invitations. You tell yourself, they don't get real people like me. The truth is more straightforward and colder. You have not let them see you. You cannot demand social value while refusing social exposure. That contradiction is what tires you. You are pulling toward safety while craving recognition. It often sounds like this inside. I don't want to go out, but I want them to know I'm different. How will they know? People cannot praise a ghost. People cannot follow a silhouette. A prince who never stands on the balcony cannot expect cheers from the courtyard. You dodge gatherings, avoid calls, make excuses, and then feel wounded when nobody centers you in their plans. You built your life around protection, not projection. and now you are upset that projection never happened. That is the first crack in identity you want a result your current behavior can never produce. Then a second crack forms. You start ruling from an imaginary court. Because you are not often with real people, you start watching people. You study reels, debates, dramas, and success stories, and you begin to believe you understand human nature. But Machiavelli never relied solely on distant observation. He wanted rulers to move among real, unpredictable, emotional human beings. When you only watch from your room, you begin to imagine people who are always logical, always receptive, always ready for your insight. You start to think, if I spoke, they would listen. That audience lives only in your head. Real people interrupt. Real people forget. Real people carry their own ego into the room. So the day you finally go out after a long time, the real crowd does not match the imaginary crowd, and you take that mismatch as a personal insult. This is why normal behavior begins to feel like an attack. A cousin talks over you, you feel disrespected. A friend doesn't react to your idea, you feel unseen. A colleague challenges your point, you think the room is hostile. But nothing extraordinary happened. You met real humans after living with an ideal audience. Instead of adjusting, you retreat further and label the whole outside world as rude or low quality. In truth, it was your expectation, formed in isolation, that was fragile. You preferred the court in your mind because there your intelligence was never interrupted. Out here, rank has to be earned in front of living people. Now passivity begins to breed paranoia. The less you act, the more you think. Action gives you feedback. Thinking alone gives you echoes. You start replaying old conversations, analyzing why someone typed a short message, and wondering who met without inviting you. You begin to see patterns that may not exist. You become like a ruler shut in his fortress, listening to passing rumors and assuming every whisper is treason because he refuses to go out and see for himself. Staying home too long without a mission makes the world look threatening. The street seems dangerous, groups look judgmental, and opportunities look like traps. You tell yourself, I am protecting my peace, but often you are protecting your fear. This is how defensive isolation turns into a fragile ego. You become strong only in controlled environments, your room, your screen, your chosen topics. Outside that narrow lane, you feel exposed, so you avoid it, which means you never discover that you can actually handle it. Fear that is never corrected by experience becomes arrogant. It starts telling you, you cannot handle people, even though you have not tested yourself recently. Every invitation begins to feel like a threat to your identity, because outside the room, people will not treat you like the private king you have been inside your mind. So you decline, and with every decline, your world shrinks a little more. There is another cost: self-trust. Each time you say, I will go this time, and then cancel, a small piece of you stops believing your own word. You begin to see yourself as someone who plans but does not execute. That inner reputation is dangerous because once you stop trusting yourself, you hesitate with every future move. The collapse is not that the world rejected you. The collapse is that you watched yourself avoid entry again and again until you were no longer sure who you were, powerful or scared. Machiavelli would tell you to reorganize your state. If you genuinely want only peace, then drop the demand to be widely valued and enjoy the quiet fully. If you want recognition, then you must appear where recognition is given not constantly, but deliberately. The wiser path is rhythm, seasons of retreat to build, and seasons of presence to be seen. That is how rulers kept authority without becoming common. When your actions match your desire, the pieces of your identity come back together. You stop fighting yourself because your visibility finally supports your ambition rather than contradicting it. Align your desire with your movement and let your chosen presence make you whole. Not every distance you kept was loneliness. Some of it was self-respect, choosing silence. You were taught that a normal person is always out, always laughing, always showing up for everyone. So when you preferred your own room and your own rhythm, you thought something was wrong with you. But in fundamental power dynamics, the people who last the longest are those who do not put their whole lives on display. Machiavelli would look at your pull towards solitude and say, "This is not sickness, this is material for sovereignty. What is hidden cannot be targeted," and your mind was trying to keep you from being exposed. Privacy is power because it forces people to guess. When you do not reveal every emotion, every plan, every weakness, they cannot gossip accurately. They cannot copy a move they have never seen. They cannot twist a confession you never gave them. Many times when you stayed home, it was not because you hated people. It was because you hated giving people too much access. You did not want relatives, neighbors, co-workers monitoring your spending, your relationships, your mood swings, your ambitions. Your instinct was saying, "If I show less, they can control less." That is closer to statecraft than to shyness. Look at your antisocial days again. What you actually didn't want was low-quality interaction. You didn't want to sit through 2 hours of shallow talk that does nothing for your future. You didn't want to laugh at jokes that quietly lowered you. You didn't want to keep proving loyalty to people who are not loyal to you. That is not fear, that is taste. You were saying, "If I'm going to spend time, it will be with people who respect my mind or with work that advances my life." You didn't want crowds, you wanted cleaner alliances. You were not running from humans, you were running from cheap rooms. Modern culture has confused availability with kindness. Come to everything is presented as a loving way of life. But making yourself available to everyone is how you become ordinary. You felt that. You knew that if you kept showing up just because they called, they would start to believe if your time had no weight. So you pulled back. That pullback was not laziness, it was royalty. Rulers do not wander the city every night. They create distance so that their presence feels like an event. When you withdrew to protect that aura, you were acting more like a prince than a recluse. But here is the line you must draw. Solitude becomes a weapon only when it increases your capacity. If you stay home and scroll, stay home and complain, stay home and replay old wounds, that is not Machiavellian, that is hiding. Machiavelli would tell you to use your private space the way a commander uses a fortified room, to study, to plan, to train, to gather resources. If the world does not see you today, build something today that makes the world look for you tomorrow. Read, produce, earn, refine your speech, sharpen your thinking, improve your image. Let your absence be expensive, not empty. Think of your room as a fortress workshop, not a cave. A cave is where people disappear so that they never have to face reality. A fortress workshop is where leaders prepare so that when they step outside, their words land. In your space, you decide who enters, how long they stay, and what level of respect is allowed. In your space, you can create things that travel farther than your body. Can videos, businesses, skills, content, offers. Then, when you finally appear somewhere, you're quiet because there is work behind it. Remember too, the goal was never to vanish from the world. The goal was to enter it from a chosen position. When solitude has done its job, you can walk into a room and speak little, yet be heard. You can say no without guilt, because your time is doing something real. You can choose 2 strong allies instead of 20 spectators. That was what you wanted all along. Not noise, but respect. Not crowds, but circles that honor your boundaries. So the reframe is simple. You were never truly antisocial. You were anti-invasion. You did not hate people. You hated being diluted. Now, keep the protection, but add productivity. Stay selective, but stay building. Let people know you through the strength of what you produce, not through endless appearances. Protect your space, sharpen inside it, and appear only as a sovereign. Power must be visible enough to be believed, but scarce enough to be desired. You have seen what happens when you disappear completely. You get out of practice, you misread people, and the world moves without you. But you have also seen what happens when you are everywhere. People talk to you casually, they call you anytime, and your presence loses its price. Machiavelli's answer is not complete isolation or full exposure. It is selective visibility. You are seen where it matters, by people who matter, for reasons that serve you. That is what it means to meet your shadow and to make solitude strategic rather than defensive. So, first, choose your appearances. Do not be the ghost nobody remembers, and do not be the entertainer everybody consumes. Be the figure whose arrival has meaning. That means you attend rooms that raise your value, a meeting with a mentor, a business space, a rare network where people are building, not gossiping. You decline gatherings that only drain you, not because you are antisocial, but because they give you nothing in return: information, respect, or opportunity. When you appear like this, people learn that you move with intention. They cannot predict you, so they cannot cheapen you. Picture a prince who shows himself daily in the market, chatting about everything. Soon, he is just another man. Now picture a prince who appears seldom, but when he does, he announces a project, settles a dispute, or rewards loyalty. His presence is now attached to impact. That is how you must treat your outings, your calls, your online posts. Don't post 5 empty things. Post 1 powerful thing. Don't go to 8 useless events. Go to one that changes your circle. You do not need volume. You need an advantage. Second, build power from the inside out. Your room must not be a place where time dies. It must be a fortress that manufactures strength. Learn new skills there. Train your mind there. Create products, content, offers, and systems there. Earn money from there. If the results of your solitude can be shown a better body, clearer speech, sharper thinking, a side income, an online presence, nobody can call you lazy for staying in. They will contact you to warn you about staying in, because now they see something concrete coming out of the silence. Strategic solitude means you stay unseen while your influence travels. You might not be at every dinner, but your work shows up in people's feeds. You might not talk for hours, but your name is mentioned because you solved something. You might not tell relatives what you are building, but they hear from outside that you are moving. That is more Machiavellian than meaningless social activity. You are operating from your own territory, under your own rules, at your own pace, yet your reach continues to expand, and the more you produce, the easier it is to refuse low-value invitations without guilt. This also protects you from the old wound that said, "You are hiding." No, you are building. Hiding produces nothing. Building produces assets, skills, and leverage. When you have something to show, even if it is small, your mind stops accusing you. You can tell yourself, "My solitude has a yield." That is how you turn what used to be a shameful habit into a disciplined practice. And discipline is always respected, more than permanent social availability. Third, control access to you. Power is not only what you do, it is what you allow. If everybody can message you anytime and expect instant replies, you have trained them to see you as a peer with no hierarchy. Set response windows. You could answer DMs once a day. Perhaps you could return calls only in the evening. Possibly you may do visits only on weekends. This is not arrogance. This is signaling that your time is structured. Structured time implies mission. Mission implies status. Status changes how people speak to you. Do the same with your physical and digital space. Not everyone gets to know where you live, how much you earn, what you are planning, or who you are dating. Give different levels of access to other people. Inner circle gets the person you are. A professional circle gets the capable you. The public gets the polished you. This layered access is pure Machiavellian thinking. Different audiences, different disclosures. What people cannot fully read, they cannot easily attack. And what they cannot easily attack, they begin to respect. Notice what happens when you start controlling access. People value you more. They wait for your answers. They think before they speak to you. They invite you to better rooms because you were not already in every room. Scarcity creates pursuit. This is one of the core social dynamics. The person who is not constantly available becomes the person people orbit. You do not have to be rude or cold. You have to stop being automatic. Automatic people are easy to forget. Selective people are hard to ignore. Put all of this together, and your shadow is finally met. Before, the shadow used solitude to avoid pain. Now, you use solitude to create strength. Before, you stayed in because people were harsh. Now, you stay in because your fortress is productive. Before, you were either hidden or overexposed. Now, you move in a rhythm. Appear, deliver, withdraw, rebuild, appear again. That rhythm keeps you socially fresh without making you socially cheap, and it lets you see the world clearly without allowing the world to consume you. Be seen with purpose, build in private, and let your scarcity create respect. The peace you choose is different from the silence forced on you. One is a throne, the other is a corner. What you are aiming for now is the kind of calm that belongs to a person who knows where he is going, who he allows near him, and what noise he will not let in. You are not broken for liking your own space. You only have to turn it from hide to command. Look at the world around you. Most people are tired, not because life is hard, but because they are constantly performing. They are performing online, outdoors, and at family events. They want to prove they have a life. But when you move with Machiavellian eyes, you see another path. The rare person who does not have to prove anything becomes the one everyone wants access to. Calm is the new status. You cultivate routines, income, health, and a small circle that actually respects you. You do not chase crowds, you build gravity. This calm is not laziness, it is controlled energy. You decide what deserves your attention. You answer people on your time. You show up where advantage lies. And because you are not scattered, you can think more clearly than those who are constantly reacting. People cannot easily manipulate someone whose nervous system is not starving for attention. You become hard to bait, hard to guilt, hard to pressure, because your own order already feeds you. But calm does not mean you stay locked in one place forever. The ideal rhythm is between fortress and field, your home, your room, your private schedule that is the fortress. That is where you plan, study, create, and review who is loyal. Then there is the field, the meetings, the launches, the gatherings that push your goals forward. Rulers who lasted decades did this. Retreat to think, emerge to act, retreat to recover. If you only hide, you lose relevance. If you only act, you lose clarity. Power needs both. You may spend the week in focused solitude, producing or learning. Then, on the weekend, you enter one room sharply well-dressed, rested, ready. You listen more than you speak. You make one strong impression instead of 10 weak appearances. After that, you return to the fortress. In this way, your solitude fuels your social strength, and your social strength justifies your solitude. That rhythm turns your preference for home into a strategic lifestyle. To make this real, begin ruling your room. If you cannot manage the space you sleep in, it isn't brilliant to dream of managing a company, a family, or the following. Order your desk, protect your mornings, filter what content reaches your mind, choose which voices are allowed to speak into your day. This is not perfectionism, this is training. Machiavelli wrote for men who had to rule whole cities. You are starting with one room. If you can keep that realm clean, productive, and peaceful, you have already learned the first law of governance. When your inner territory is calm, entering the outer world no longer scares you. You do not go out to be completed. You go out to extend what you already are. Even in a chaotic world, you maintain a centered pace that makes you memorable. People feel safer around those who are not desperate. You become a steady person in a shaky culture. So, let this be the closing truth. Your preference for solitude was never your enemy. It was your raw material. Shape it. Add discipline to it. Add rhythm to it. Use it to see clearly when others are blinded by noise. Then step out, act, and step back again. Choose calm over chaos and rule from the center.